Hello everyone. Welcome to Ethereum Cat Herders meeting 42. I'm going to share agenda in the chat here. So the first item on agenda is 1559 fee market changes. We have Tim here. So in the last meeting, I explained about the interest of people in the implementers call to take help of cat herders and engage them for community outreach. And yeah, Tim, would you like to go ahead and explain, and then I can explain what is the proposal there?
Sure. So like Pooja said, as part of 1559 calls, we realized, well, we discussed that this is going to impact a large number of people in the ecosystem. So because 1559 changes the transaction format, basically anything that sends or reads or analyzes transactions will have to change. And that's a pretty big lift. So we wanted to better try and understand what is the impact of 1559 on the ecosystem, and what can we do to make it easier for projects to adopt it. So we started reaching out to various projects. Pooja and myself with both a form and scheduling meetings to basically ask them a bunch of questions about 1559 and get their thoughts. And these meetings tend to go quite well when there's two people on them, because one person can kind of lead the conversation and the other person can take the notes. And I've been doing a lot of them, and I think that it would be good to have cat herders who are interested kind of join on as the other person. So Pooja has done it yesterday, and I think if we start getting more meetings, we might even be able to like split between two sort of teams doing the meetings. Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to check if anyone here was interested, and taking notes for those calls would be paid just like other core devs calls or whatnot.
So I have shared a link in the chat that is about the 1559 communication and outreach proposal that we have. So if people can click on that, it talks about what could be the activities that has been identified.
It says I don't have access to that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are done. I hope it should work now.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah. So I, being in cat herder resource, am already engaged with some of the tasks, as Tim mentioned, and like I am a part of the multi-sig for 1559 Gitcoin bounty, maintain the outgoing transactions sheet, kind of create a roadmap to provide an estimated timeline, and some of the other work. But with the increased need in efforts, the 1559 group, the funding group who are managing the public funds, came up with a budget to engage more resources and fund the outreach task that we, the cat herders, can do. This is the proposed outline of efforts by Tim Baiko, and the group has approved this budget. The total funding is estimated to be somewhere around 7,500 DAI, and that will be provided in tranches. So the first grant of 2,500 DAI has already been transferred to Ethereum cat herder multisig. The transaction ID is 77 there. So the task listed here, the first one, create a user interview questionnaire, that is completed. But other than that, I think there are 3 more tasks that we can consider. Contact the stakeholder to try and schedule calls with them. This estimate is based on like 40 projects. We estimated that we would be reaching out to 40 projects, or the miners, wallets, or on-chain projects that are there for Ethereum, to take their feedback and understand how they feel about it, if they have any concern. So we have kind of created a questionnaire for that. And like we have, the list is divided into like first to reach them, then to schedule call. As Tim mentioned, that note taking also is a part of it, but we don't have to do the entire note taking just like we do it for all core meeting and other meetings. It would be in a set format. So yeah, that is it. And if anybody is interested, they can let me or Tim know about it. Then we will further go ahead and share the, format that would be needed for taking notes or outreach.
Is there already a compiled contact list?
It's like work in progress, kind of like we have a list of.
That's part of the work, in other words.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So yes, we are trying to contact through different, social media. We use Twitter, LinkedIn, email, Gitter, Discord. So we just keep on adding wherever we get response. So yes, we have one, but
Maybe I'll put it in other words. Do you already have a list of everybody that you want to reach, or is that also still being compiled?
yes.
Okay, cool.
To be clear, it has been compiled. We have a high-level list of projects, but we don't have contacts at those projects. And I think there's value in, adding beyond that list if and when we find good people. Yeah, so there's definitely still some work in just, building out that list and reaching out to people and whatnot. Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
I could help out.
And that would be great. I will provide you the access to the sheet, like the list that we have and the questionnaire I'll share with you. Or anybody else if they are interested, do let us know. And yes, we can connect and work it on together.
Yeah, we can start like a Discord room or a Telegram chat or whatever to coordinate.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm assuming you'll post that room to a place where we'll all see it.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay, any more question on that? Cool. So the next item is a breakout room update. So yeah, in the previous meeting, we discussed about having a breakout room. Thanks to Hudson, he has already created one after mentioning it in the all core dev meeting, and the sessions are now started. So far, we have 2 meetings concluded in past 15 days. It's like 1 meeting per week. Generally, that happens on Monday at 1400 UTC. So the goal here is to collect feedback from clients on a proposal and to kind of get consensus to move ahead with the implementation, and then update client status in the all core dev meeting. So originally it was planned for having 1 EIP per breakout meeting, but the last 2 that we did was dedicated to YOLO version 2 discussion. So the agenda and summary is added in Ethereum PM GitHub. I'm sharing the link here. And in the last meeting that happened yesterday, we also discussed the frequency of this meeting, like how people want to have this meeting scheduled, like getting it every week or 2 week or whatever. So the general suggestion was like to have it once a week, but for a shorter duration. Like if we have to make a decision on 1 or 2 proposals, just we consider that, we talk about it and then go back to work. And whatever work is done by the end of week, if that is a core dev meeting week, we go ahead and share that with the all core devs meeting. So yeah, and from the past 2 meetings, we agreed upon the group agreed upon the proposals, the EIPs. Those would be getting into YOLO V2, and I have created this sheet and updated it. Yeah, I have updated that in the sheet, which would hopefully be updated in the Friday's meeting. And yes, that's all about breakout room. Anybody has any question?
Yeah, I encourage us to look at the breakout room channel in ETH1, because I posed a question to Alexi this morning at midnight my time about how, like, how we can prevent this from turning into a lot of calls and what's the ideal format for an asynchronous medium for this type of stuff. And Micah and Alexi and Martin Swende and a few other, I think that was it, actually chimed in. I thought they had some really good comments. So we should look at that and take that into consideration and see what we can do to adjust things if people are feeling like there's too many meetings. Because once a week might still be too many, because this started out as something where we said this would just only be as needed. And now because it's gone so well, we're thinking we might need to do it weekly, but I'm thinking maybe that's not the case and people will get burned out pretty quickly because the same people will have to keep going to meetings.
And also, so I was on those, and I think it's not as productive when you only have half the people there. So on both the meetings, you know, you have people, like, you don't have everybody from all core dev show up, obviously, and then it kind of moves things back to async anyways, right? Where, you know, just on the last one as a call, Nethermind didn't know the meeting was happening, and then we needed something from them. So we basically still have to resolve it async as well. So yeah, I think that's something we should think about. Not saying like we should not have those meetings at all, but yeah, it's like, how do you make sure that when you do have it, you have like high participation rate?
Yeah, I think that we should decide when those meetings happen in all core dev meetings instead of having them pre-planned, and otherwise really push for people to look at asynchronous stuff. And that's kind of what me and James are supposed to be doing, which is keep track of the EIPs, implementation, and what people are thinking about them, and talk to teams individually to make sure they're keeping up with the asynchronous communications about it. And we're not completely doing that right now, but that might be something that if we do a better job at it, it'll alleviate some of those problems. But what do other people think?
In general, my thought is, like, since this is new, so I can understand the hiccups that are coming up on the way. Like, we need to reach out to every client, although we just started this communication. And yeah, also I'm not in a favor of or against of having it every week or every alternate week. The idea is to, I mean, in my mind, the idea is like, if there is something that is taking too long in the core dev meeting and clients would want to come and talk about it, asynchronous is a good way. But just like happened in the first breakout room meeting when everybody was present, I mean, all clients were present, and we were really quick in deciding on the proposals and we moved ahead. And now that Geth was there, Besu were there, they knew that they have to work on this YOLO V2, these proposals are getting into it. So makes, I mean, like what I get from the meeting is like, by end of this Friday, but when it is all core dev meeting time, the implementation is hopefully would be done and the testnet would be deployed. So yeah, I'm open to suggestions. It's completely on all core dev, but people were thinking it can be, you know, sub channel for that.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll think about it more and probably write my thoughts today in the Discord. So that'll be my next step personally for it.
In the ETH-R&D Discord, like they're in the
Yes, and the ETH-R&D Discord in the breakout room channel where the discussion's currently ongoing.
Sounds good. So moving on, the next item is ECH Discord channel. In the previous meeting, we discussed about you know, having the last day for that. That was like 10th and 15th. So today is 15th, and I have sent a reminder yesterday as well in the channels there for the community member as well as an internal. So from this point, we can move all our discussion to Cat Herders Discord. There were a couple of other tasks. That was one, the proc power channel. We were supposed to decide on if we want to have it, if we want to invite that. And I think a bridge was supposed to be created. Do we have any updates on that?
Oh, nope, haven't made the bridge yet. Need to do that this week.
Okay.
I'll do it today or tomorrow.
So for the time being, we are considering this proc power channel in Cat Herders, right?
I thought it was a move ahead thing because we do have the Gitter and we are able to make a bridge just on this channel. Would there be a reason not to go ahead with it?
No, no, it's not that.
Okay.
So in the channel itself, like I and Hudson were asking, discussing like if we need it, and then if we are creating a bridge, in my mind, it makes perfect sense to have it. Like eventually people will move here and we may not need the bridge anymore. So yeah, I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I can do that today or tomorrow.
Right, and the other thing was like on group titles, rules, and the members' role permission. Uh, do we have any general thought on that? Like when I created this server, I was having a thought in my mind, like anybody who is over a year or maybe having a herd token, because herd token is something that is not with many people with us in this group, is in this present group. So I was thinking like if anybody is there with associated with a group with over a year, should be on members role. Same way for like revoking the permission of member or something like that. We should define a criteria if that helps.
I'll admit, I think I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't really think that having a criteria is helpful here. Herd token, if it will actually ever be distributed, might be useful. Just to pick on myself as an example, I have been with the cat herders since they were formed, consecutively, and I don't have any herd tokens. So it's true I've been here for over a year, but until there's an even distribution of the herd token, I think we really just need sort of messy human consensus. Because like, especially with the way the roles are handled right now, basically either you're a member or you're nothing, which means that someone who's been here for less than a year can't even see, or maybe in some cases can see, but can't post into any of the cat herder channels. So for note takers, that's an easy example of someone who's going to have a lot of difficulty. I think we just sort of need to rank on participation. And I agree that that's very undefined, but I think it sort of needs to stay that way. I mean, we have some people who've been hanging here for a few years also, who have what I guess I would refer to as spot participation, but that spot participation is very critical. And I would worry that if we come up with too firm a guideline, and especially if it's algorithmic, that people who we need are going to get cut out. And I think it's just probably easier to just sort of look around and say, yeah, this person's doing something, they should get let in, or this person isn't doing anything at all. Maybe reach out to them, see if we can take them off the list.
So at present, my understanding is like everybody, especially who are present here in this meeting today, all of them, even other note takers, are member. Just one exceptional is Alita. So if there is a general consensus to move her to members, I can go ahead and do that. She is having a contributor role there. And I was also thinking about our community partners. So I was thinking like if they can be added as community role, and rest all like general.
I'm on the fence. I mostly agree with William, but I would say there needs to be just the minimum viable thing to make sure that people, if we get, I guess the fear I have is that if we don't have a minimum viable set of this is what it takes to be a cat herder, like either amount of time or something like that, or like number of contributions or something, then people don't know if they can say they're a cat herder or not. And that's pretty powerful to say that you're a part of a group and be a representative for them. And that also attracts people to the group in the first place. So, because otherwise that's one of the benefits of being a part of something is you get to say I'm a part of it and get some of the clout from that. So I think that if I were to make it like just off the cuff, I would say participation for 3 months and that's it.
Note takers will probably still need access beforehand if we onboard.
Yeah, and then there could be a trial period before then as far as like getting access to note takers. So that'd be the contributors section, and then getting full access would be after 3 months or something.
So the truth is maybe what really needs to happen then is sort of an expansion of the role set. making sure that people in the contributor role can get access, read write to the parts of the Discord that they'll need. And then, yeah, I'm totally fine with what you're saying. I understand your reasoning.
Okay.
That
And
makes
then,
a lot of sense.
yeah, and then Pooja, to your comment, yeah, I think it is important to have the roles correctly, like you've been saying, and to make sure people can get to the channels they need to get to.
Right. So I just have one more question on this topic. Sometimes back, we started this Ethereum cat herders onboarding form. So we received a few responses on that, and like we have like 5 to 7 people there. Let me share the link here of the Excel sheet so people will be able to see. So yeah, these are general community members. They have been like from one or the other project, or someone from the Ethereum Foundation itself, some from other projects. What do we have in mind for them? Like they are not active contributors, but in my mind, they should be like community. They should be having a role of community because they are here. So they should feel that they are part of like cat herders, and we can assign them as the role of community.
I think assigning them to the role of community is a good first step, but we should aim to have them be members if they want to be members. I think that's what we should be pushing for, and giving them many opportunities to become members over the next, whatever the time period is. Like I was suggesting 3 months, but whatever that time period is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the idea of trying to find roles for them. But I'm wondering, I mean, if we're using contributor as sort of like probationary, that's the word I wanted, probationary role for like people who we're just starting to get familiar with, but already have things they need to do. So maybe this should even be like a new kind of role. Like, I mean, I don't think it should be called potential candidate, but something like that. If it's literally people who want to just signal like, hey, we notice you want to be a part of this, but they don't necessarily have something to do yet. Does that make sense?
I thought we are considering them as community, right? And contributor would be like one of the note takers or people who are doing any of the, like in getting engaged with any of the tasks like EIP, note takings, or anything that cat herders are working on.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I think I'd want better wording on the role, like a better name. That like community sort of makes it sound like they're not actually like, you know, part of the clan. No, I mean, maybe that's just my feeling.
I get
think.
that. I definitely get that. Maybe cat herder in training. So CHIT. Oh man, that says shit, and we can't do that.
I was debating if I should say something there. Yeah.
Okay, we can't call it that. We could actually call it that without doing the acronym, actually, but
potential
yeah.
Associate cat herder.
Yeah, associate cat herder works for me.
I like that. Yeah, +1 there.
Okay. So now we have agreed upon one is member, like all, I mean, going by the definition of 3 months, let's consider 3 months time period. So everyone from this meeting or from the internal chat group are members now. And the second category, we are having associate cat herders that will add all these people who responded to onboarding form, as well as our community associate, like Fellowship of Ethereum Magician, or maybe somebody comes up from EA or something. So will be there. And
wait a second. I'm not sure I understood. Community, I think, is great for the partners like magicians or whatever the case is. If it's someone who consistently interacts with us as a cat herder also, I'm fine with that. But I think maybe community is one role, and then the sort of associate cat herder thing is a separate role, no? Or are we putting those in one category? Could be I misunderstood.
I thought that associate cat herder is a replacement word for community.
Oh, okay, that works for me.
I'd prefer separate personally, but it's not a strong opinion. So if others feel otherwise.
I could go either way.
Okay.
So why don't we say less work for you, Pooja? Why don't you just rename it to
Oh
Associate
no,
Cat Herder
that's
then?
all right. I mean, like it's a consensus-based thing. So whatever group decide is fine. So okay, fine. For time being, let's have only two categories: one as members and the others as associate cat herders, and that will include the contributor in training as well as community members. I mean, community associates, and the people who would be like keep on contributing will be upgraded to members after a certain period of time. Does that sound reasonable?
I thought we were still keeping the contributor category in the middle, as in people who actively have tasks like note taking, but I don't have 3 months, just to give them read-write access to the channels that they need. So again, the contributors as they are now, I don't think are able to like see messages or write messages in
They
meeting
are,
notes or
yes.
things.
I'm sorry,
So
they are able to see that.
that's been changed because I know it used to be that they couldn't.
Yeah, I think Alita is present, is the only contributor member of this group. So yes, it works with her.
That just happened by moving her up to member, though. I think the actual, is that correct? I mean, the actual roles on, like, what are the permissions on contributor? Are you sure that the role contributor is able to see messages and read and write messages and meeting notes?
I do think so because Alita is having contributor members and she keeps responding to so many messages in the group.
Okay, great. So then, all right, fine. So then that was my mistake. I hadn't realized that had gotten fixed up. Okay, great.
Perfect. And I think Alita should be a member by now, right? Hasn't she been around for 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, earlier, like my consideration was a year, which was not there.
Oh,
But
got it. Yeah.
we have decided it in this meeting. So I'm going to change her permissions to member.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's do what we decided today. And if we want to change it again after next meeting or a few meetings from now, after we kind of figure out if it's confusing or not, we can. But right now it seems like a good in between what we've decided.
Great.
And if I can just make one tangential point at the end, if nobody else has anything on topic, just taking a look at the responses from the cat herders onboarding form. There's some people we should really get in touch with and find something for here. Like Griffin's the guy who writes the stateless Ethereum summaries for the foundation. Like, you know, there's some good contacts here.
Yeah, actually, I got in touch with him. So, I mean, like we were talking on 1559 meeting notes. So he reached out to me and we started talking. Then I invited him to join this Cat Herders Forum. And then we discussed more about, you know, what we do here. And he was trying to understand how cat herders are helping. So he is here. Yes, I'm in touch with him. But if we have anything specific, I mean, I generally post everything on the Discord. So.
Cool, great.
Okay. So moving on, the next item on the agenda is emergency communication group. And I think it's for you, William. Take it away.
Actually, I might just serve this over to Hudson. The one thing that I'll say, just one thing maybe before you get started is we have a couple of documents that are sort of our draft proposals as they were for protocols communications. We've finalized them as of this week, and Hudson's going to take it from there.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm getting descriptions right now of our overall goals. I'm waiting for Jay to respond to that, and I'll be talking to Jay on Thursday, I think, if I don't hear back from her before then. And then I think I'll know if we're going forward with the description William said or not, and then I can use that description to socialize it better, only because I know the question that's going to come up when I share these documents is what's the purpose, or what do you want me to do? What's next steps? And I want to be ready for that question. So I didn't want to go to people who are very integrally integrated very closely with the process without having some of those questions answered. So in short, I still need to socialize it after getting a summary of the meaning behind the documents a little bit better.
Sounds good.
And that's it.
Okay. Any more comment on this? I mean, I have seen those documents, haven't added much to it, but that looks good to me in all senses. So that was the next step. So yeah, we can hear more on that maybe in the next meeting. What are the responses when we start when you start socializing those documents?
Sounds good.
Cool. The next item on the agenda is PEEP and EEP. Okay. So we have recorded 6 episodes so far. But first, I would like to start it with a huge shout out for William Schwab for his outstanding contribution in every episode that we have recorded here. His
Thanks. I'm flattered.
Yeah, we have been talking about it in a Telegram group that we have for PEEPs. His distinctive skills of engagement with authors are remarkable. In fact, one of the EIP authors specifically asked me to invite William for his next appearance in PEEP and EEP to discuss another proposal. So it's a great engagement from his side. Also, Alita, she is also continuously supporting with this recording. So the goal here is to collect feedback from the EIP authors about the process, know more about that proposal. If that is in draft, then that needs to move on to next stage. We try to understand what are the challenges there, and if there is any area of area that could be discussed for process improvement, we try to figure it out, and then my idea is to go ahead and add it to the agenda item in the EIP meetings. So generally in the all quarter meeting and EIP meeting, we discuss about core EIPs only, but there's a significant amount of work to be done in defining the process for non-core EIPs as well. My thought is that this PEEP and EEP series are going to be very helpful because we are interacting with a lot of ERCs 20 and other proposals which are actually not core. So tomorrow is also a recording for one of the proposal, which is EIP 2535 Diamond Standard. It's basically it's a proposal for decentralized on-chain governance, like has been implemented in some of the DeFi projects. So I hope it's going to be interesting for people to watch the recording of it. And if anybody from the group is interested to participate in the discussion, feel free to ping me, William and Alita. Yeah, that's on this. The next item is cat herders funding Moloch DAO and ESP. So in the previous meeting, I said that I would be submitting a document for that would be for the submission of next grant request from Moloch. I have shared it with Tim and Hudson. I'm not sure if they got chance. I think Tim had some feedback on it. It generally sounds good.
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Okay. No worries. So the thing is, like, the Moloch DAO grant that we received was in the end of June, and by end of 3 months they had requested to provide an update. So that document contains what we have done in this period. That's number one, and the funding was for 3 months only. So that is for the request for funding for another 6 months. So I was thinking if we can come up on like when we can submit the proposal. Also, I was interested in knowing if there is a significant amount that is associated as fee for submission of the process. I'm not aware of it, but if there is, so can we consider that from the multi-sig?
I'd say we could, but I'll be submitting it and I can probably take the hit, so it wouldn't be a big deal to me. But if I decide that I want to take some from the multi-sig, I'll bring it up with the group before actually sending a transaction to be accepted. I would do a proposal for it.
That would be great. So I mean, like, generally, is there any thought in mind, like, by when we should be submitting? Because this is something like I think happens every 15 days.
Roughly, I think it is every 15 days.
All right.
So I
Okay.
think we should submit it before the end of the month.
Makes sense. Okay. So like today is 15th and we'll be meeting next, like I think end of this month only. Okay. I hope you get a chance to look at the proposal, and if you have any questions, do let me know and we'll try to finish up the document. And yeah.
Yeah, we can submit it next week even. I do need to start to talk to the Moloch DAO people before I actually submit the proposal. And then we need to go through the process of sitting in that form. So even though it's created, I'll kind of let them be the judge of when's the best time to submit it, like officially on chain, but we can start the process next week even of submitting the stack form or whatever they use.
Sounds good to me. Tim, did you have any suggestion on that? I saw that you unmuted. I'm not sure.
So you did my suggestions. I was going to suggest we request for 6 months rather than another 3 months, but you already did that. So yeah, that's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, the next item is discuss and close the GitHub issues and PR.
I could speak to this only because I did this last time and we went through each one of them. So there's no updates on any of them except for the converting SAI to DAI USDC. And that update is that I haven't heard from Gnosis, so I'm going to reach out to them again today.
Cool. And in the funding section, I think there's one relative.
Yeah, we're waiting for those to stack up though, right?
Right, but I have a comment there. Personally, I think that it would be better to create one issue per nodes, that would help us to keep track of. I mean, like definitely it is going to be added in the multi-sig transaction sheet where we try to bundle them. But it is a good practice to create one issue per nodes. That's number one. And number two, if we are requesting fund to be paid in ETH, then we might want to add the screenshot of ETH rate and date time, whatever was there. I have seen William, who was the first person to request for the fund to be funded in ETH. He does it in a very appropriate way, and I would highly recommend other note takers, if they are interested to get the funding to be paid in ETH, please use that format, and that would be helpful to us as well. Like as an approver, it would be very convenient for us to just look at that rates and then do the calculation.
Yeah, could someone put a link to one of the examples where he does that so I can check that out?
Yeah, I'll look for one.
Thanks.
Okay. So the last item in the agenda today is meeting 41 notes. The decision mates were don't submit requests for funding right now because of gas price. We just discussed about the Moloch DAO submission. Drop the idea of hackathon, that's fine. Zoom cloud recording. I did not get a chance to look into that and have not deleted any of the recordings so far. I'll try to do it, at least some of them before the next meeting. So I'll take it on my to-do list. The action items were Hudson to create a break-off room channel for all core dev. That's done. Hudson to create a Gitter bridge for ProcPow this week or next. We'll continue it as an action item. Move discussion about the group titles and rules to the ECH member Discord. We had a lot of discussion today. Hopefully we will come up with a resolution. We'll revisit after few meetings, whatever we have decided on it today. And yeah, that's the end of the meeting. There was one more, sorry. So there was one more comment from William. It's about the do exits proposed change to the EIP process needs to be discussed here, or should the conversation be kept to EIP IP I mean, I'm okay either way. We still have time, but if people think that it has to be done in the EAP, I'm good with that.
I mean, I guess maybe I'll put it like this. So just a bit of background if anybody missed it. Alex Bergazazzi has suggested some changes to the EIP process. So I guess the question is there something that we can and should get involved with here or not? That's
I,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so and you were saying, should we discuss it here or not? Is that the only question?
I really think so. I mean, as in, if there's something that we can jump on with about maybe getting some support for it, or if there's people who need to be contacted or anything we need to do.
I wanted to look at it.
Here.
Yeah, I wanted to look at the proposal and cross-reference that with the last two EIPIP meeting notes and see what has been decided that he might not be aware of because he's missed the last two meetings.
Okay.
So that might be a good first step. And then we can discuss it in the next EIPIP meeting and try to make sure he can be there.
All right. That definitely sounds like the best way forward then.
Cool.
So what the decisions that were made in the last EIPIP meeting, one of those were like to submit a pull request with the new statuses for EIP process, and exec has a pull request open, and the conversation is around withdrawn and abandoned status. So if in the meantime people would like to give it a look, that's there in the EIP channel of @RND Discord. So yeah, that is there, and yeah, that could be discussed as well. Anything more for today?
I feel like someone has to make a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy thing if it's the meeting 42. So like whoever wants to take that.
Right. Yeah, and so it looks like we did it a little early, but that's good. So the next meeting is in 15 days from now. That's on September 29th. We all have a good day, night. Thank you everyone for joining today.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah. CRI.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Pooja.